Good evening. The day I was born, Herbert Hoover was the President of the United States. Remember him? My father was out of work. The country was in the midst of the Great Depression. My parents had been married for 7 years. That is what was called family planning in those days. Wait until the Depression to have your first child. Stockbrokers had already jumped out of windows on Wall Street, and those who hadn't were selling apples on street corners for a nickel. I was born into a home with a mother, a father, a younger brother, a grandmother, my father's mother, and a grandfather, my mother's father, all sharing one small house. I thought this was normal. We survived. Growing up gay in a straight world was very different in those days. It was a world of secrets, of closets, of pretense, of hiding your true being. I didn't know what the word homosexual meant in those days. For many years, homosexuality could be punished by imprisonment or institutionalization. We were diagnosed as crazy. Well, I wasn't crazy then, and I'm not crazy now, I think. Lord Alfred Douglas called it the love that dare not speak its name in his poem entitled Two Loves. In 1895, he was involved in the trial of his lover, Oscar Wilde, who was sent to prison for 2 years at hard labor for the crime of sodomy. He later died destitute in Paris. This notion of the illicit quality of gay relationships was still very much alive as I was growing up. In some places it still is. This kind of love was dirty, it was wrong, it was a sin. You were going to hell. You hid. You pretended. I didn't know who I was until I met my life companion, John Ferris, at Michigan State College in 1948. We were both in the music department and studied with the same organ teacher. Organists in the room, maybe. Our love of music and our love for each other formed a strong union that lasted for 60 years until his death. We faced the world as a couple without pretense, whatever the odds. We survived. My parents were two amazing people. Neither had graduated from high school, but they saw to it that my brother and I both got college degrees. When I told them that I was going to New York City with John to live together, they accepted us as a couple. I never had to come out to my parents. They came to me. John and I went to New York City in 1950. He to pursue a master's degree at Union Theological Seminary, and I to complete my bachelor's degree at Columbia. I became the Associate University Organist and Choirmaster at St. Paul's Chapel, Columbia. In 1958, John was offered the post of University Organist and Choirmaster at Harvard University. I took a church position in Red Bank, New Jersey. After 10 years of living together, our lives were being wrenched apart. But we were determined to remain together as a loving couple, even though separated by circumstance. In 1961, we purchased an old farmhouse in the Berkshires as a halfway point where we could be together whenever possible. I still live in this house. For the next 21 years, we lived apart much of the time, but were always together emotionally. Somehow we survived. We followed our separate careers, taking us in different directions. John to become a highly praised conductor of the Harvard University Choir for 32 years, and the conductor of the Boston Cantata Singers for many years. I to have an international career as a concert organist, pianist, and teacher of voice. We found joy in each other's success. I moved to Massachusetts to live with John again in 1979 and began to teach voice at Harvard. He retired from Harvard in 1990. Throughout our years together, we never dreamt that marriage would be an option for us. Then, in 2004, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts made marriage a legal possibility for us, thanks to GLAAD's landmark Goodridge case. We married on May 23rd of that year, after the world's longest engagement. 56 years. John was already suffering the ravages of Parkinson's disease. As his illness became more pronounced, our house became a one-bed nursing home. With the help of aides, I was able to keep him at home as much as was humanly possible until the end of his life. When he died in 2008, I found that although we had been legally married, none of the usual Social Security benefits offered by the federal government to a surviving spouse would be available to me because we were gay. I was appalled. I was alone for the first time in 60 years. I was denied my rights as a widower. We had both worked and paid into the Social Security system all our lives. For what? A dear friend who was with us tonight put me in touch with GLAAD, and I joined others in the pursuit of equality by turning over DOMA, which the federal government uses to pretend that ours was not a real marriage. Tonight, I represent the plaintiffs in our case against DOMA. We are asking the federal government to treat our marriages the same as all other marriages. We ask for equality under the laws of this country. This means the defeat of DOMA. In this country's Constitution, as was first phrased by Benjamin Franklin and then penned by Thomas Jefferson, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and that means all women as well. And we have not been treated that way. Gay people have been made second-class citizens by our Congress passing the Defense of Marriage Act, DOMA, in 1996. What we are asking for is equal justice under the law. These are rights that everyone else takes for granted without thinking about it. The wonderful lawyers and staff at GLAAD have helped us win victories at the district court level and at the appeals court level. Our next step is the Supreme Court. Without GLAAD and its noble mission, this would never have been possible. And without equality in the law, we will have a hard time surviving. To continue living without the 1,000 plus legal protections that are available to all other married couples is intolerable. It is unfair. We cannot survive this way. With the help of GLAAD, this is the message that we, the plaintiffs, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, and ensure domestic tranquility, are sending into the world. We will survive, and we will be equal. Thank you.